The genealogies of Matthew chapter 1. I kind of went on a, I don't know, 5 mile bunny trail last time, talking about Abraham and Isaac, his son, and then Isaac's son, Jacob. Everybody on this list, in this genealogy, has a story. Some we know more about, others not so much, but of those three, we know a lot. All from the book of Genesis. And then Matthew goes on. Isaac, the father of Jacob. Jacob, the father of Judah and his brothers. Now, you remember how Jacob's sons they represent, or they're the seeds of the 12 tribes of Israel. And one of the big stories there is the life of Joseph, which would be about a 30-mile bunny trail. You can read for yourself on that. But when I'm talking about the father of Judah and his brothers, Judah was the oldest, and there is a significance in his listing in the genealogy because the Messiah was to come from the tribe of Judah. All right, keep going, Steve. In verse 3, Judah, the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar. Now, that's a story. And oh, by the way, in a Hebrew genealogy, it was about the male lineage. Normally, a woman wouldn't have been included in the genealogy, but you're going to see in Matthew's genealogy, there are a few women who are cited here. Tamar is one. Tamar was a widow, and she had been widowed when one of the sons of Judah had married her and then died. And Judah had said, I'll take care of you, yada, yada. Years passed. Judah didn't do anything. This is kind of a racy story, but I don't know. It kind of seems, I'll say at least interesting to me that God made sure it got included in the narrative. Anyway, Tamar realizes either Judah has forgotten about me, or he is ignoring the fact that he made a promise that I would have a husband from his sons. So she dresses like a prostitute. I am not an authority on ancient Hebrew prostitution, but from the context of the story, it seems to be not exceptional that there would be a prostitute in Israel. However, Judah, in the narrative, assumes that she would have been a priestess of a pagan temple or religious practice. At any rate, Tamar, she hangs out on the main road, knowing that Judah would be coming that way, and feeling confident that he would come that way. And also, I think she knew a little something about Judah, and can I say it, men in general, that she hung out, and evidently she had veiled herself in such a way that she couldn't be recognized by Judah because Judah propositions her and then has sex with her. I mean, he assumed she was a temple prostitute, but okay, I don't know how to make this PG-13 instead of rated R, so I'm just going to go ahead and plunge in. He didn't care who she was. He didn't ever even see her face. He just had sex with her, got the sexual release, and moved right along with the rest of his life. And she said, well, but wait, what will you got to pay me for this. And anyway, they negotiated so that he would leave his staff and his signet with her. And he just thought, whatever, here was his thought. I got a friend, he'll bring a goat, she'll give me back the stuff. I said, no, whatever, it's no biggie. Well, he then returns home. His friend takes the goat and goes back to the place that Judah had said, this is where I met her. And he asks around, where's the prostitute that hangs out here? And everybody went, there's no prostitute that hangs out here. No, I mean, the temple prostitute. I'm telling you, there's no prostitute here. So the friend goes back to Judah and says she wasn't there and they don't know anything about her. Then Judah goes, well, whatever, her loss. I can get another staff. I can have another signet made. Well, time passes, and God, in my opinion, God engineered that Tamar would be impregnated in this sexual encounter. She turns up pregnant, and word gets back to Judah, and Judah is indignant. How could a daughter-in-law of mine, I'm putting words in his mouth, but I think it would have been what he was thinking. How could she? And he took it on himself to execute a standard practice that she, because of this horrible dishonoring of her dead husband and his family and the whole thing, Judah was ready to burn her at the stake. And when he got there, intent on doing this, she said, but wait a minute. And then she pulls out a staff and his signet and says, give this to the man who they belong to. And Judah knew, it's not a pretty story at all. Two sons, Perez and Zerah, come of that. I wouldn't be too hard to pull a lesson out of that. The easiest part of the lesson would be, first of all, going to use some technical language here. Horny guys do horny things. They do not think with their brain. So women and girls, bear this in mind. Secondly, hey, horny guys, get control. And then the third thing is, be sure of this. Your sin will resurface. It will find you out. Okay, move on. Perez, the father of Hezron, Hezron, the father of Ram, and Ram, the father of Amminadab. I don't know the stories of any of these guys. And as a matter of fact, most of the men on this list, I don't know their story. I was thinking about that this morning and thinking, they're listed, but they're anonymous. And then the thought occurred to me, hey, were you ever included? Was your name and your story ever put in the Bible? Huh. Okay. Aminadab, the father of Nahshon, and Nahshon, the father of Solomon. And don't mistake him with Solomon. This is Solomon, the father of Boaz. We remember his story, whose mother was Rahab. You got to remember Rahab's story. Rahab, she was a prostitute. Some translations want to clean it up and say she was an innkeeper. Well, you decide whatever it's okay with me, however you want to interpret that. But she hid the 3 spies from Israel when they went to Jericho to spy out the city. She hid them, and then she made a deal with them. Be kind, protect me and my family when Israel comes, because they are coming and they will defeat Jericho. So the spy said, hang this red cord out your window. Evidently, her house was built into the wall of the city of Jericho. And oh, by the way, had an amazing privilege to get to go to Jericho and discover that archaeologists are still finding artifacts and evidence that the wall fell, just like the book of Exodus said. Well, anyway, okay. She proved loyal to the spies, and the spies proved good to their word. When the Israelite army invaded, the walls fell down, and that one piece of the wall where the cord, the red cord, was hanging out the window, that family was spared. And not only were they spared, but Rahab was embraced into Israel. I don't know whether I would say they embraced her as a citizen, as one of their own, but I kind of led to believe that, because Boaz was her son through Solomon. Solomon, an Israelite from the tribe of Judah, and whose lineage goes back to Abraham, married Rahab, and they had a son, Boaz. Boaz's story is too long to tell in the minute and a half I've got left. So I'll just say, I don't want to make more of it than is there, but one of the things I see is God does amazing, noble, incredible things with people whose reputation should have excluded them from those kinds of things. He did it with Rahab. He did it with me. And he's still doing it with you and me. That's just the kind of God he is. Rahab didn't do anything to earn this status. Well, she was faithful to her promise. She hid the spies, but she didn't. It still was a matter of God's grace, just as it is a matter of God's grace for me and for you. Okay, I'll shut her down and see you next time on So Care with Stevie Boy.